All right guys, welcome back to the channel. So I had another request yesterday. Somebody DM'd me and asked me if I can make another video on how to install one of these kill switches. Now I know I did a video on this about a year ago, but at the time I was in the shop, there was no lighting, it was really hard to see what I was doing. So today I'm gonna explain everything, what you need, how to get to it, and I'm gonna show you the circuit and what wire to splice through, and how to avoid from your Hellcat, your SRT, your Demon, whatever you have, from getting stolen. Now this is really important. It's really essential for you to do this because, as you know, Dodge's security system isn't really much. So if somebody breaks into your car, they can literally program their own key fob and drive off with your car while you still have your own key. So before we get started on what tools you need and all that, I want to show you the actual circuit and what we're gonna be working with. So this over here is the push start button. Now this is the same whether you have a Jeep, you have a Dodge, you have a Chrysler, it's all the same setup. So you got a power wire that goes all the way to the RFH hub, which is the radio frequency hub, which is located right underneath the rear glass. So on the Chargers, the Challengers, and the Chryslers, I believe they're all in the same spot. I did have one laying around here. I could have showed you how it looked like. But the radio frequency hub is what literally controls everything. Your key, your response when you open the keyless entry handle, how it starts the car, all that is controlled through the RFH. So the radio frequency hub is connected to the push start button. So what we're doing is we're cutting into the power wire that goes to the push start button by putting one of these switches. So when it's on, you have your circuit connecting, and then when you shut it off, it shuts off the circuit so your push start button doesn't work. So let's say if somebody was to break into your car, just like how you see all over the news, they break through your window and they try to program their own key and drive off. What happens is, so this is a key to my Elephant. Right now the kill switch is on, so right now the car is not going to start. But as you can see, I can still remote start the car. Right? So the remote start feature still works. I know a lot of people, that was their main concern, whether the remote start is going to work or not. But your functions, as in keyless entry, still works. None of that changes. So when you get in here, as you can see, I got the kill switch on, so the button is not gonna work. Now I'm gonna cut the video, I'm gonna turn the switch on, and then I'll show you how it works after that. All right, so I turned the switch on. Now as you can see, it's lighting up because it has power running back through it. Now if I want to start it just like normal, just like that. It's a really simple thing. You got no lights on the dash. It doesn't make your check engine light come on. It doesn't create any problems. It's just a really convenient way. Now I got that light on because my signal lights don't work, or the computer things don't work. But now I'm gonna show you how to get to it. All right, so what you'll need are the switches, obviously. These I bought off Amazon. At the time, I bought 2 packs of 12 in each pack, so 24 of them, I think for about 30 bucks. Now, as you can see, I only had 3 left because I put them in every single car that I get. This particular car has 2, just because I'm really cautious, just in case somebody finds the one, they can't find the second one. But you could literally put as many as you want. Now, kill switches work in different ways. You could install a kill switch to your fuel pump. You can install a kill switch to your starter. You could do all that, right? But I see the easiest way of doing this is installing it to that button. First of all, it's easier to get to. And if you ever wanted to remove it, you're gonna have to put on the hoist, go to the starter, deal with the fuel pump and any of that. So this is the easiest way to do it. Now, there is a fuse that's in the rear fuse box. It's number 33, it's a 15 amp. And you could, if you don't want to go through your wiring, if you don't want to cut through your OEM harness, you could do that. But the problem is when you do that, when you pull that fuse out, you're shutting off the radio frequency hub, because that is what powers it. There's a fuse that goes from there to the rear fuse box. So if you were to pull that fuse that's inside the trunk, your keyless entry will stop working. So let's say the next morning you're trying to go out there and start your car, you cannot unlock your door. You got to pull out your fob, which is right over here. You got to pull out your fob, you got to take out the blade, and then that's how you're going to get access to your car. And then you got to open the trunk manually, you got to put the fuse back in there, and then you're going to start your car. The reason why I know that is because I tried it and it was a pain, so I'm not going to do that again. So now let me show you how to get to the actual harness and how you're going to start doing this. Now, I already talked about you need some switches. I'll put the link in the description for where you can buy these from. Again, I bought these from Amazon. You're gonna need some extension wires. Now, I bought like 7 rolls of these because I do a lot of electrical. And I did, what was it, 14 gauge? I did 14 gauge, so as you can see, I got a bunch of rolls, but if you have a group of friends, so this one's already out. If you have a group of friends that have some of these cars and you guys want to pitch in on this, you could literally go in on a roll, some switches, and you probably invest like $5 a piece. It's that cheap. So you need that. You need a wire splicer to cut through the harness. You need a Phillips screwdriver to take off that lower knee pad shield, whatever it is. You need a cutter to cut the wire. You need a trim tool to pop off the side cover, and some electrical tape. Now, if you're really OCD about it and you want to make sure it's 100%, you could get some solder and you can solder the switch on there, but I'm not that crazy about it since nothing's gonna wet around there, so I don't have to worry about it getting rusted. So I'm gonna set up this camera over here. I already got my Sony on here, and then I'll show you guys how to access it and what wire to cut through. Now, a lot of people was doing this off my old video and they were cutting through the ground. Now, when you cut through ground, you're still not shutting that off, because I guess there's another wire that powers it up. So you want to cut through the power wire, this red wire, and I'll show you which one it is. Alright, so I guess the camera was facing too upwards, so you guys didn't see what I was doing. But there's 3 connectors over here. One in there for the switch, one in here for the DIMM, for the interior, and one for the release of the trunk. So you disconnect these. One of them has a lock, so this one over here, you just pull the red tab back and you push it out. This one you don't have to take off, just leave it the way it is, just set it down. That way you're not putting a lot of stuff back together. Now, what you're gonna do is reach in here, and then you'll feel it. It's right over here. Pull down, and this here, nope, not that one. This here is the connector. So I hope you can see this on camera, but you have a red wire, which is the first one. You got a white and green, you got a purple, and then you have a red, black, which is ground. You want to cut into the red one, which is right over here. Now, once you do that, obviously I'm not gonna do mine on camera because you're gonna see where I put the switch, but this is where the extensions come from. So obviously you need some wiring to run it through, so you can put it wherever you want. So you're gonna cut this, you can take some of this tape off so you can see the red wire, it's more exposed. You're gonna cut it in half. Make sure when you're cutting it, it does not touch the ground, because if it does, then you're gonna pop that fuse that I was telling you about. So once that's happened, once you cut it off, once you get everything wired together, once you have your switch set up how you want it to, you're gonna reinstall everything. And then it's kind of hard to put it in because it's a tight spot, but you can feel for it. So the tab, this tab is gonna be facing the car and it'll be clipped on just like that. So I'm gonna finish mine up and then we'll put it back together and see how it is. All right guys, so I got my wiring all done. I got my switch installed. I got everything wired up. I got it taped down. And now I'm gonna show you that my switch is actually working. So when I put the switch back on, the circuit should come back on and this red button should work again. And then if everything works, I'll put it back together and that'll be a wrap up for today's video. All right, so I got my switch turned back on. Now, as you can see, my switch works just like how it's supposed to. Now I can even start it before I put everything back together, just to make sure the car starts. And as you can see, no lights on the dash, so we are all good. So I'm gonna cut it back off, I'm gonna reinstall everything, and then that'll be it for today. All right guys, and just like that, everything's back together. It's like literally like a 1-minute job. Now I'm gonna show you that this one's all set as well. That's it. Everything works normal. My door is gonna open. I can lock it. So that easy. Now before I end this video, I was gonna make a whole nother video on this, but I might as well put it in here. So if you ever see on a video how a car start rolling and somebody else is pushing another car when they're sealing it, that's because in here, if you pop this off and you open this door, you know what? Let me grab a screwdriver and I'll literally show you how it works. This is how cars get stolen. I'm gonna grab my pliers or my pry tool. So you pop that off, it's just a piece of plastic, and then this over here comes off just like that. Here is where it happens. So this tab over here with the red string, if I pull on this right now, my car is literally gonna roll. Now the reason why they have this is because your shifter, this shifter over here is not connected to the transmission with a cable. It's electric. So the reason why they did this is, let's say if you ever got to get towed, if your car broke down or anything happens, you have to get your car in neutral. So when you pull this open, actually I'm gonna do it. So watch this. So right now I can push my car. See that? So that's what happens when they steal your car. They pull this, they put your car, you know, into neutral, and they push it away. Now if you want to put it back down to normal, you just push on it forward, and now it's back to normal. Now if you start it, it shouldn't roll anymore. And now you're back into regular mode. So this is what enables your car to be in neutral, and you can put this back on and everything's back to normal. Now what I do, and I'm gonna do this once I stop this camera, you could pop this whole shifter off and you could disable that cable that goes here. Now the only problem is if you ever got to get towed, you got to, you know, go through the hassle of putting it back together, but it's a lot better than having somebody push your car away. So I'm gonna do that in a second. I want to wrap up this video, but you could do that too, just to take extra precautions and be safe about your car not getting stolen. And another thing is, before I end the video, is that on the 22s, which this one is, it's a 2022, they made it where you could take it to the dealer, you can have it upgraded where they lock out the module that programs your keys. But the problem is with that is if you ever lose your own key, nobody can program a key. So you got to replace that module, they got to program new keys to it, and it's expensive. But for now, I'm gonna keep it on with the kill switch, and probably sooner or later I'll get the upgrade done. So that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. If you learned something new, make sure to hit that like button. If you want me to do another video on something that you want to know about, make sure to leave in the comments down below and I'll go through them. But that's gonna be it for today. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you back on the next one.